Let's say China.
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 China. China.
There are next door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You go over to China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump's statement, tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Yes, hello, and welcome. It's me, James Andrews, and you are listening to So This Happened, the only news you need if you have enormous feet. It is Thursday, the 10th of August, 2017, and today, Bigfoot was spotted. But then it turns out that it actually wasn't Bigfoot. The story takes place in the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina, where a group of people claim that they saw Bigfoot walking through the forest. Unfortunately, though, because it would have been so great if it really had have been Bigfoot, but apparently it was just a man who was wandering around. The chap in question, Gawain McGregor, is a self-proclaimed shaman, and he was taking part in a ritual where he dresses up in animal skins and wanders around the forest. I don't know why he wanders around the forest dressed in animal skins, but that's just what he does. It's all a part of being a shaman, I suppose. Anyway, after this man, Mr. McGregor, came out and said, I was Bigfoot, just dressed in, skins, the leader of the group who saw Bigfoot posted on Facebook that no way that it was a man dressed up, because he says, and this is a direct quote from his Facebook page, "The creature that I saw was 8 feet tall, with stringy, matted hair. The gentleman in the picture don't appear tall and is in a suit that appears to have short brown fur." And again, I'm reading this grammatical errors and all, okay? So maybe if I read it sort of differently, it would have sounded better, but in the picture don't appear. Anyway, also, the creature moved with speed unmatched by any human, even Usain Bolt. He didn't say that part, but I was adding that in there so you would know this fucking thing was fast. And he said, "The creature that I saw had no hair on its face and a flat nose. The picture in question, the face is covered in fur and has a snout." I'm going to stop right there because my impression of Bigfoot might be slightly swayed by Harry and the Hendersons, if you remember that interesting film from back in the 1980s, I think it was. He said that the creature he saw didn't have hair on its face, so maybe it was just a really tall man. You know what I mean? It's sort of, he saw someone walking through the woods with no hair on its face, but kind of scraggly short hair. That just sounds like a bloke who was really tall walking through the woods. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, not Bigfoot apparently. So A, it was this man, Mr. McGregor, dressed in his animal skins as part of his shamanistic ritual, or it was just a really tall bloke who ran really fast. So you decide. And also today, you'll remember Taylor Swift was in court the other day about her bottom being pinched. Well, she was back in court today giving testimony, and well, here's what she said of the alleged grope. She said, and I quote, "It was a definite grab. A very long grab." She then continues saying, "It was intentional." And then this is my favourite part. If this was a Sunday, this would be the cherry on the top. I quote, "I felt him grab onto my ass cheek under my skirt. He grabbed my ass underneath my skirt." And then this is the best part right here. I love this. "He stayed latched on to my bare ass cheek as I lurched away from him." And I love this. It's sort of, I have this image in my head of sort of this man with a lobster claw just "Ah, I am now attached to Taylor Swift's ass. Fantastic. Ah, she's trying to get away. I will not leave. I am latched on. I am on her ass." or something similar to that. Taylor... I'm sorry, I'm still picturing the Lobster Man, but Taylor continues, it was a very shocking thing. And then she says, I had never dealt with something like this before, and that, right there, I don't believe. I find it very hard to believe that Taylor Swift has not had her ass grabbed once or twice. And, oh, it's too good. I need to find something depressing now because I've got the giggles, as you can tell. And nothing depresses someone like this guy. Here's an interview I dug up here from 1999 with Donald Trump and Wolf Blitzer. So I'm going to let you have a listen to that for a few minutes while I sit here and compose myself. I'm not.
As far as nuclear is concerned, this country, us, we need a shield because Russia's unstable.
A strategic
North Korea's
defense
unstable.
initiative.
We need a missile defense shield. And if we don't have one, and if we don't start developing, and now, people used to criticize Reagan. The fact is now it's very developable. And we need a shield.
If you want to build this strategic defense shield to prevent against missiles, you have to go ahead and negotiate with the Russians a change in the 1972 ABM, the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. What if the Russians say no, no can do?
Well, look, you just said it. A change in 1972. A treaty that was made in 1972, who knew what was going to happen in terms of technology? It's time for a change, and we have to sit down with the Russians and many others. Look at North Korea. North Korea is developing missiles like nobody has ever seen. And we better do something rather quickly with them, hopefully through negotiation. But we better do something rather quickly with them. Russia
What if, on the North Korean front, what if the North Koreans don't play ball, develop a nuclear capability, go forward with their missile development? Does the United States act unilaterally?
Excuse me. If spoken to correctly, they will play ball. Look on another front what happened recently where Clinton has asked our so-called trade partners to come.
So there's the Prez almost 20 years ago using the same rhetoric that he uses today. And perhaps that's what he was thinking about, was that interview from 1999 when he made his comments about North Korea, because, hey, if you talk to them properly, they'll listen, and by God, I can talk to them properly. And the fire and fury statement that he made a few days ago, he's now doubling down on that and saying, well, maybe it wasn't even strong enough. So let's have a listen to Donald Trump today when he was asked the question, what do you think about the fact that the North Korean government just called your fire and fury statement absolute nonsense?
Well, I don't think they mean that, and I think it's the first time they've heard it like they heard it. And frankly, the people that were questioning that statement, was it too tough? Maybe it wasn't tough enough. They've been doing this to our country for a long time, for many years. And it's about time that somebody stuck up for the people of this country and for the people of other countries. So, if anything, maybe that statement wasn't tough enough. And we're backed by 100% by our military. We're backed by everybody. And we're backed by many other leaders. And I noticed that many senators and others today came out very much in favor of what I said. But if anything, that statement may not be tough enough.
What would be tougher than fire and fury?
Well, you'll see. You'll see.
Mr. President, is one of the options being considered a preemptive strike, first strike?
We don't talk about that. I never do. I'm not like the other administration that would say we're going into Mosul in 4 months. I don't talk about it. We'll see what happens. But I can tell you that what they've been doing and what they've been getting away with is a tragedy, and it can't be allowed.
Mr. President, would you ever consider negotiations under different circumstances?
Sure. We'll always consider negotiations, but they've been negotiating now for 25 years. Look at Clinton. He folded on the negotiations. He was weak and ineffective. You look what happened with Bush. You look what happened with Obama. Obama, he didn't even want to talk about it. But I talk. It's about time. Somebody has to do it.
Okay, so yesterday I said I didn't really want to buy into the whole North Korea fear-mongering that's going on. But I do want to talk about it a little bit today, not to necessarily push a fear thing, but just to say that I believe there's a pretty unstable chap in the White House right now who has the nuclear codes and who said some very scary things. Now, when he was asked what is worse than fire and fury, he responded with, "You'll have to wait and see." And I think perhaps that he's thinking about the Justice League. Green Lantern, Flash, Superman, whoever's in it. I don't know who's in the Justice League, but those guys, they would be worse than Fire and Fury. So maybe Donald Trump's building his own little Justice League. Maybe that's where Sean Spicer's gone. Maybe he was hit by some radioactive wave and now he has superpowers. But joking aside, when the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, says, "Oh, my statement on Fire and Fury, that shit wasn't strong enough. What I actually meant was worse than that." Then he went on to say, after asked, would you consider negotiations? He said, yeah, you always consider negotiations, but they've never worked. And as a minor student of history, this all does sound like he's leading up to declare war on North Korea. I hope, and I don't think it will actually happen. But you never know when you have somebody like Donald Trump in the White House. And I do have one suggestion, that perhaps Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump could just sort of go at it in hand-to-hand combat to the death. And the victor reigns supreme. Pay-per-view, could put it on television. I would pay a lot of money to see that shit, to be honest. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people would as well. But back to why I don't think we should be super scared just yet. There is a system in place in this country which makes it so that one man, the president, cannot just declare war on a country. He has to go through Congress, and then Congress will declare war. That's a safeguard that's in place, and it's something that we should all remember, that is there, and cooler heads, even though it doesn't seem like it sometimes, cooler heads do prevail in the Senate and the Congress. And the second thing is, Donald Trump's a bully. He's shown that time and time again. I think at this point that is an indisputable fact. The man is a bully. And bullies like to use strong language like that. They want to seem absolutely massive and invincible. When I was in school, kids would always do that. Very rarely did they actually hit me. But they put the fucking fear of God into me by looking at me and saying things to me like, "I'm gonna break your face. You're dead, Andrews. You're fucking dead, mate. After school, you're fucking dead." And, well, I'm not dead, and nothing ever really happened, but it was sort of this fear, and they loved it. When they saw that I was going, "Oh, yeah, sorry, no, it's okay, don't, no, it's, no, oh, sorry." They loved that. They loved it to see someone cower, and I think that's what Donald Trump's doing here. He wants to make this little Korean fella cower. And we've already seen Rex Tillerson come out this week and sort of play down the rhetoric between the two sides, kind of, just saying, yeah, that's what he does, that's what they do, they're both these showmen, they like to just chill out. He didn't say it like that because it's Rex Tillerson, but you see what I'm saying. And now back to something that's going to make you chuckle. Today, a pastor, a Southern Baptist pastor, a man called Robert James Jeffries Jr., who is apparently the evangelical advisor to Donald Trump, whatever the fuck that is. Anyway, he came out today and said that God has made it okay for Donald Trump to attack North Korea. You think I'm joking? Listen to this idiot.
There is a great deal of confusion among Christians when it comes to this idea of using force to topple evil. And I wanted to clarify that I believe the Bible, especially Romans 13, does give President Trump moral authority to use whatever force necessary, including assassination or even war, to topple an evil dictator like Kim Jong-un. And I believe the Bible is very clear about that. And while President Trump prefers a diplomatic solution to this problem, he's been talking about diplomacy for 19 years with North Korea. He's also willing to do whatever it takes to keep America safe. And one thing I know about President Trump after being around him for the last 2 years is this. Unlike his predecessor, when President Donald Trump draws a red line, he's not going to erase it, move away from it, or back down from it.
Okay.
And we ought to thank God every day we have a courageous leader like President Trump in the White House.
Okay, Pastor Jeff. Okay, sit down, you fucking numbnuts. You look like a pedophile, and if there is a hell, you will be the first man to rot in it. And on that really cheery note, it's time to say goodbye. So thanks for the chat. It was lovely. We'll do it again tomorrow. If you want to follow me on Twitter, So This Happen, and you can always download, subscribe, and like the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever. I don't know, wherever fantastic things like this are found. Anyway, take care. Cheers.
I've traveled round too many